Hi everyone. So I don't even know if I'm going to post this video or what I'm going to do with it, but I had the urge to make it. So I wanted to talk about things that I've learned in college, like about myself, really. And how long have I been here? Well, really, I started this summer. So I've been here since like the end of June. So what? That's like 7 months now? So over half a year. It's actually a really long time. And yeah, so I guess I'll get like right into what I was gonna talk about. So the first thing that I was just kind of thinking about was like I tend to really compare myself to other people a lot, and I know I'm not alone in doing that. I know a lot of people have this problem where we compare ourselves to other people, and usually in a negative way, as in like they're so much better than me, I don't measure up to them. I should be doing better, or like, look at all these great things that they're doing, kind of like a way of like beating yourself up for not being good enough or, measuring up to your own expectations or whatever. And I know it's really unhealthy, and I've stopped doing it largely. Like, I've gotten so much better at not doing it very often. Um, but sometimes I kind of get into this headspace where usually the comparisons for me kind of get into like um, somebody being more accomplished or more productive um, than me. Like I always kind of look at people that can like balance a lot of things. Like for instance, today I was I connected on LinkedIn with somebody that I met in one of my clubs, and I was just kind of like reading over her profile. And and I started to get this like sickening feeling, and like, oh, because I guess in my mind, I wish I was like that, because like just looking over, she has like, she's involved in like 5 or 6 different clubs, and she has a off campus job, and she's works for the Obama campaign, and she gets good grades, and like I don't know, just like all this stuff, and I'm just like, how does she balance um all of this stuff, and like do it so effortlessly. And I always like get, I guess, a little bit jealous, because in my mind I'm like, oh my god, I'm like so unproductive, or like, oh my god, this weekend I was like so lazy and just stayed in bed and like watched Netflix, and she was probably out like doing all these exciting things and just like really kind of stupid stuff. But um I guess in my mind it's significant, and I think it's just comes from my kind of like insecurity in that I always feel like I'm not doing enough, which it's kind of ironic because most people that I know that have like looked into my work or like have connected with me, professionally or whatever, are always like, wow, Erin, you do like so many things. Like, how do you do so much? Like they kind of do that same like type of thing with me, is it's like, wow, you're so productive. And I guess I always feel like I'm not as productive as people think I am. And I know that sounds bad, but maybe that's not even true. I just might think or have this perception that it's true. I know that I'm the type of person usually where I do pretty well with balancing a lot of like smaller commitments, if that makes sense. Like I can do like a bunch of things that require a few hours a week of commitment, and like balance them pretty well actually. Um, and I know like for some people like that's kind of overwhelming, but I guess it works for me. Probably also because I have a short attention span. But I don't know, like I think I'm a pretty fast worker. Actually, I have a pretty fast turnaround. Like when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do an assignment or something, like I just plow through it and like get it done. I'm pretty good at like working, I think, pretty quickly and getting kind of a lot accomplished in maybe a shorter time than it takes most other people. That's kind of been my observation of myself, just kind of based on my work, and that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. But when I'm always like, look at all this stuff that other people are doing, I have to like kind of think, okay, like Erin, look at all these things that you're doing right now. Like, you're not like involved with nothing. You know what I mean? And I'm not. I'm involved with lots of stuff. So, you know, and then when I'm always like, I feel, and usually when I get into that headspace, then I get into the sense of like, okay, I want to take on more. I want to do more clubs and activities. I want to, do another internship. Like, I kind of get into this mode. But then, like, once I commit to it, I'm like, oh my God, this is way too much. I cannot handle this. Which I am restrained in this. I did that more in high school, but because now I'm not as like, I don't commit to things as like readily as I used to. I really like kind of think about like, am I going to be able to handle this responsibility and take this on and really have time for it? And I try to like kind of be a little more honest with myself before I make a big commitment to something. So, I mean, and that's the thing. I just have to remember that, I am doing a lot of stuff and something else I've learned too is like, I kind of knew this, but it's been a little bit more solidified, that I am extremely introverted and I need a lot of like downtime. Like I really do. Like at the end of the day, I have no desire to like go to a bar or a party or even like hang out with people really. I just kind of want to like chill, watch some TV, read a book, and just like hang out. Like I love doing that. And, I guess it's kind of quantified as like being lazy or whatever. And, I've labeled myself too like that as like, I'm so lazy. I'm so like reclusive, and that the reclusive thing might actually be a little bit true, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like everybody has different levels of, I guess, social engagement, like going to parties, hanging out with people. That's not for everybody, not everybody like lets, or de-stresses that way or like does that to have fun. You know what I mean? Everyone's definition of having fun is different. It's not a bad thing that watching the Kardashians is my idea of fun when, other people might consider going out to be fun. Like, it's not bad either way. Like, it's just two different things. And, I have to stop, like, saying to myself, like, I, need to go out more or, like, I need to, like be more social to be like an acceptable person or something like that. Like, my worth isn't defined by that, and it's completely fine to need downtime and need to kind of relax and be away from people. And I definitely need more than probably like 99% of people. Like, I love to have like a good like 6-7 hours of like alone time, which sounds excessive, but I guess I don't know. I always like after like being out all day, going to classes, going to club meetings, like going to the library to work on homework. Like I just love to like go back to my room, put on my pajamas, and just like like relax. Like I just love that, and like I just can't see like trying to go out again after I've kind of like gotten into that headspace where I'm like, okay, I'm relaxing now for the night. Especially, I will say too, especially because it's so freaking cold right now. Like walking 5 feet out the door, I'm practically like dying of coldness. It was literally 10 degrees here today. So, and walking everywhere is not necessarily a pleasant experience. So that for now, that doesn't make me want to go out, but it definitely makes me appreciate the summer and the spring and the fall when it's warmer a little bit more. So there's that. So that was really long. That was only like one point. So other things that I've learned about myself, I'll try to like shorten it a little bit. I mean, I've definitely learned that it's important to stay organized, and I have tendencies to be unorganized. Which sounds kind of obvious, like, duh, you need to be organized. But I was just so used to operating in, like, my head, where I'm like, okay, here's what I have to do. Like, here's when I need to get it accomplished. And kind of, like, leaving it at that, not really, like, writing it down or anything. And that worked for me when I, was in high school, like, community college, really. And, I don't know, didn't have as many responsibilities and didn't have as much homework, didn't have as many projects. Like, community college was a lot easier school wise. And, so it wasn't that hard for me to like manage it, I guess. And now that I'm at college, I'm finding like I can't do that so much. I need to organize everything and figure out, okay, what do I need to do? What homework do I need to do? What events am I going to for clubs? And, like what articles do I need to write? What, and like I need to like keep track of that, or else I'm probably, going to forget something or going to have to do it last minute. I usually don't forget something outright, but sometimes I'll end up doing something totally last minute, or I would, because I would kind of forget about it until like the day it was due or something. So now what I'm doing is I'm using Asana, which is like an organization system, to organize all my projects and classes. And so I have like different tabs for each thing that I'm doing, and then I create tasks and due dates for each thing. And it's so great because even when I have like a moment of like, all right, I have a 2-hour break from class, I want to get something done, what should I do? Instead of like thinking about it and being like, let's go on YouTube while I think about it or something, I can just go to this list and pick something and do it. It's already written down for me. It's already organized. So instead of, spending 10 minutes trying to think of what I need to accomplish and instead, procrastinating on the internet, instead I can go to this list, find something in 2 seconds and start doing it. And I feel, even since I started doing this in the last like week or so, I felt like so much like more in control of just everything. Like I don't feel like there's like I'm gonna forget something, or that I constantly need to be thinking about what I have due the next day, or that, I don't know what I need to get done. What do I need to get done? Like I don't need to think about it anymore, because I used to always kind of like stress myself out thinking about that all the time because I didn't want to forget something. And so now I don't need to stress out because it's all written down for me. And it makes it so much easier when it is time to work and do homework or work on writing or whatever, to just go to this list and see everything that's kind of written out for me, and instead of having to like go and figure it out. Basically, I already have it, so I can just start doing it and not have to worry about figuring everything out. So that's something that has definitely helped me, and that's just literally been in the last week. What else have I learned? I just learned so much, like, on a personal level about myself, like, emotionally and psychologically. Been doing a lot of work on myself in the last few months. Like, a lot. And I've had some major breakthroughs for sure, and I don't want to get into all that because that's kind of personal. But it's been really great because I felt like I'm making a lot of progress. Like I've really felt I've seen the changes within my own behavior and within myself, and that makes me so happy because I feel like I'm making a lot of progress. Because I remember doing therapy and all that stuff when I was living at home. I didn't feel like I was making as much progress. I've kind of felt like I was at a standstill a lot. And looking back on it, I think a lot of that just had to do with kind of my own unwillingness to admit some of my own issues, And then when I moved away to college, a lot of those issues I was kind of forced to confront. I couldn't necessarily run away from them in the way that I had been doing. So I really had to like think about everything. And I just really had to like really face these issues because I couldn't run away from it when it was right here. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm going to have to deal with this. And it's just been really great to work on everything. And like, I just feel like I feel a lot more in control, and I feel of my emotions. And I just feel a lot more like at peace, and like not all the time. And it's still work in progress and stuff, but like looking at me from the end of June to now, the end of January, it's like such a world of difference in myself. I see a completely different person here, and I'm so happy about that, and I can't wait to see like what other progress am I gonna make, like what else is gonna happen while I'm here? Um, and how am I going to be affected, like by being at college? Like, what else? I'm excited to see, what other changes are going to happen. And in terms of relationships, I know I've talked about this before, and, what's been really going on, I guess, is in the last like 4 months ish, I've really been I've been kind of doing, not so much now, a little bit, but um, kind of like serial dating, where I've just kind of like dated a bunch of people, mostly online, not all, but mostly, and I've just like, I started, honestly, okay, when I started this like journey or whatever, I really wanted to get into a relationship. Like, that was kind of my goal. That was my objective. And that failed miserably a bunch of times. Like probably like 20 times. And at the end of December, when one of the attempts failed, I got so frustrated because I felt like I just felt so inadequate. I was like, how come this dating thing seems to be so much easier for everyone else? Like, it seems like everyone else has not as much trouble as I do necessarily, like, finding a partner. You know what I mean? And this might be completely false. This is just my perception. And, like, it seems like most people have an easier time, and most people don't have to go through, like, so many different heartbreaks and issues like I have, and, like, is anyone ever going to want to be with me, and, like, why isn't this working? And I was getting really frustrated, but it was a good thing, because I kind of had, from this moment, a breakthrough, and kind of realized why I haven't had a relationship. And it's not a coincidence, and I was kind of looking at it before as like, oh, poor me, I've been dating all these guys were assholes, and, I just go for the wrong people, and just like all these, different things. And I was kind of placing it outside of myself. And then in the end of December, I really looked at myself, and I was just like, Erin, like, you need to really examine what's going on here, because of the like 20 people that you've dated in the last 4 months, can you honestly say that you have had no hand in ruining the potential for those at all? Can you honestly say it's all these other people's fault and not your own? You have no fault in it. And I really couldn't. That's the thing. Like, when I was really reflecting and examining it, I really couldn't say that, because it wouldn't be true. I was lying to myself in that, I'm just this like innocent bystander victim. And I wasn't. I had a huge hand in ruining a lot of those relationships. I probably was responsible for ruining, like, more responsible than the other person for ruining a lot of those. And if I said relationships, I meant like potential whatever. So, like, I really was. I had a huge hand in the whole thing. And to say, like, that, it was just all these other people's, here's all their issues and here's how that got in the way. That might be true, it probably wasn't 100% my fault as to why it didn't work out all those times, but it wasn't 100% their fault either. I had some hand in it, and sometimes I had more hand than they did. And just looking at all that, basically, I realized that I'm not really ready for a relationship. And, like, I'd like to be, because, like, my ideal is, like, yeah, I'd love to be in a relationship. I'd like to think that I'm ready for it. I'd like to think that if the opportunity presented itself, it would happen. But in reality, I don't think the opportunity actually will present itself, because I'm not in the headspace to be there yet. Like, I don't think I am, I don't think my own, like, inner psyche, or whatever you want to call it, isn't in tune enough to be ready to, like, be with somebody else, if that makes sense. I just don't think I'm ready for another relation. I don't think I'm ready for a relationship. Like, I don't think I personally am, like, ready for all that comes with it. I don't think I could handle it, is kind of, I guess, what I'm trying to say. And I think because I can't handle it at the moment, and a lot of that has to do with all the intense work I'm doing on myself, like, there's not, you have a certain emotional capacity, and once you reach that limit, you've reached it. So, it's hard to do all this work on yourself and then do all this work on a relationship. And, that's just a lot to juggle. And then, you get overwhelmed and, so it doesn't really work out too well. Like, it's usually better to, like, work on yourself and then work on a relationship. Not that you can't do both at the same time ever, but if you're doing really intense work, that requires a lot of commitment. So, I think because I'm really engaged in that process of, like, working on a lot of my own issues and even a lot of trauma, which I'm not going to get into, but yeah, I think because I'm really dealing with all that right now, a relationship is not going to present itself as an option because I'm not presenting the right circumstances to be ready for that. And that's perfectly fine. And, like, I can still date. And that's the thing. It doesn't mean I can't date, or that doesn't mean I can't have sex with people. It doesn't mean that I have to turn into, like, an aromantic, asexual person because I should probably say, like, a celibate person. Because I, am pretty sure I'm not going to be ready for a relationship for a while. I'm allowed to still, like, have fun and, engage in that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean I have to cut it off. But, I have to realize going into stuff that I can't have these high, grandiose expectations for it because it's probably not going to turn into a relationship. And that's what I used to do, is, like, have all these grand expectations, all these dreams and hopes and fantasies, and just with every new partner, and then it would end up kind of, like, backfiring, and then I'd feel stupid for having all these, like, grandiose ideals. And I think as long as I just don't do that and I don't have these great expectations, if I don't have any expectations, that's a goal. And don't have go into it with the mindset of I want to turn this into a relationship. Just go into the mindset of, like, me and this person connect and let's see what we can make out of this connection. And that's it. And, I'll probably more times than not, that means not having a relationship, And, and the other thing that, oh my God, this is like 22 minutes. And the other thing that goes along with that is just not, something I used to kind of do is kind of like, if someone wanted to be with me, or somebody wanted to date me, or somebody wanted to, engage with me, I would do it probably 99% of the time. Unless they were a troll or something like that. And looking at that, I'm like, that's not really valuing myself, though, because it's making me, I would talk to people I didn't even necessarily want to talk to. It was just more like, they're giving me some attention, and I like that, and that comes from a place of insecurity, of thinking that I'm unlovable, and that's, and looking at that, I'm like, wow, I can't, foster those kind of patterns and that kind of behavior. I have to be honest with myself and true to myself, and that means not, forcing something that isn't there. And it means letting go, too, when it's right, and not, like, trying to make something happen that's not going to. Or accepting the fact that, like, okay, I had sex with this person, and that's all it should ever be, and I need to, like, close the door and not, think about turning this into something more than that, because it shouldn't be that. And just, like, all those different things. And I think I'm going to stop talking now. But these are some of the revelations, and I probably could make it literally like a 12-hour video, that I've been having since I've been at school in the last, like, 7 months. And it's just, like, I don't know, just the amount that you kind of, at least for me, that you kind of, like, learn about yourself and are confronted with is a lot. And it can be overwhelming a lot, but it's really great, too, because you really grow up. Like, you really grow up. And it's really cool. So, alright, I'm going to stop rambling. And if you actually watched to the end, like, you should comment and tell me you watched to the end. Because I will, like, love you forever and give you hugs and stuff. So, It's like 4:30. I went to bed earlier. I'm on this crazy sleep schedule where I sleep like twice a night for like 4 hours each. So I'm probably going to do my second round of 4 hours now. So I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching.